with my friend. There's fresh dew on the grass again. The scent of spring fills the air again. Squirrels and butterflies, the rivers running by, they all sing the same song. 'Cause it's Sabbath again. It's Sabbath again. Oh, oh, the seventh day of the week that our God has made for man. The seventh day of the week that our God has made for man. 'Cause it's Sabbath again. Remember the Sabbath, to keep it now. 6 days shall I labor, that is my vow. You made this day for me and you to rest, to reveal your love, so I will know that it's the best. So come and join us and sing along as we worship the true reason for this song. Jesus, the creator of heaven, you and me and everyone. The Father, Holy Spirit, all three in one. All three in one. All three in one. 'Cause it's Sabbath again. It's Sabbath again. Oh, oh, the seventh day of the week that our God has made for man.
cross down, all the world worship him. In all the nations, in all the world, where he sends me, yes, I will go. I will go where you lead me, I will go where you lead me. Who will go for us? I will go. I will go where you lead me, I will go where you lead me. Here am I, send me, Lord, I will go. I will go. I will go. Who will go for us? I will go. I will go. I will go. Here am I, send me, Lord, I will go. I will go. I will go. I will go.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Sorry. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our AY session, part 3 of the Pillars of Our Faith series entitled The Sabbath. I hope that you enjoy today's presentation and you're blessed, and that someone who may be listening may come to know God closer as their guide and friend. We will now do the AY aim, the Advent message to all the world in my generation. The motto, the love of Christ compels me. The pledge, loving the Lord Jesus, I promise to take an active part in the youth ministry of the church, doing what I can to help others and to finish the work of the gospel in all the world. Now I have the song here. It's been a while since I have sung this in front of persons. So I'm going to do it for us now. This is the AY song. Adventist youth are we from every land and sea. Together we pray and work and play in happy harmony. We have a faith to share with others everywhere. A message of love from God above to show the world we care. Adventist youth, Adventist youth, Adventist youth are we. We will now have our song service.
O day of rest and gladness, O day of joy and light, O balm of care
one holy Sabbath day of rest. Holy Sabbath day of rest, by our Master richly blessed, God created and divine, set aside for holy time. Yes, the holy Sabbath rest, by our God divinely blessed, it to us a sign shall be throughout all eternity. Seek not pleasures of this earth, with its folly, noise, and mirth. There are better things in store over on the other shore. Yes, the holy Sabbath rest, by your God divinely blessed, it to us a sign shall be throughout all eternity. As the Sabbath draweth on, Friday even sets of sun, Christian household then should meet, sing and pray at Jesus' feet. Yes, the holy Sabbath rest, by your God divinely blessed, it to us a sign shall be throughout all eternity. Asking him for saving grace, also victory in the race, and to help us by his arm, to keep holy every hour. Yes, the holy Sabbath rest, by your God divinely blessed, it to us a sign shall be throughout all eternity.
Far from ordinary and the Sabbath morning, roaring fields and from the distant sea, swell no surprising, harmony resounding as so
Jehovah's rest. Holy day, Jehovah's rest, of creation's week the best, last of all the chosen set, blessed of God to man 'twas given. Welcome, 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 glad we hail his presence bless, 'tis the great Jehovah's rest. First in 6 days work was done, then the Sabbath was begun. Thus he blessed the seventh day, thus in resting we obey. Welcome, 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 glad we hail his presence bless, 'tis the great Jehovah's rest. Thousands have his plan reversed, resting now upon the first. Search the book and you shall know, this new scripture tells them so. Welcome, 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 glad we hail his presence bless, 'tis the great Jehovah's rest. All who speak the truth must say, it was man who changed the day. In God's word no change appears, through the whole 6,000 years. Welcome, 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 glad we hail his presence bless, 'tis the great Jehovah's rest.
I love to tell the story of unseen things above. 457. I love to tell the story.
love to tell the story of unseen things above, of Jesus and his glory, of Jesus and his love. I love to tell
Good evening again, everyone. Okay, yes. Good evening again, everyone. And welcome to Pillars of Our Faith, Part 3, the Sabbath. Exodus 20:8-11 from the remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. For 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, you or your son or your daughter, your male slave or your female slave, or your cattle, or your resident who stays with you. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea and everything that is in them, and he rested on the seventh day for that reason. The Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Exodus 20:8-11. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a little bit. Not share my screen, turn off my video because it's telling me that the quality of sharing both is not good at this time. But I'm still here, never fear. So this begs the question, what really is the Sabbath? Why was it created? And why does it need to be respected and followed? Now, according to Google, the Sabbath is a day of religious observance and abstinence from work, kept by Jewish people from Friday evening to Saturday evening, and by most Christians on Sunday. Based on this definition, however, it is important to note that the word Sabbath isn't exclusive to the seventh day, and that is why as Seventh-day Adventists, we emphasize the seventh-day Sabbath. So I'll just play a little video here now on what the Sabbath is really about.
God purposefully made one day in the week to serve as a day of rest. And so, in the Bible, every seventh day is known as the Sabbath. It's a day for worshiping God, taking time off from being busy, and basically recharging your batteries. But while it's really supposed to be more like a holiday, many people have misunderstood it as essentially being a burden or an obligation. So, let's see if this video can give us some clarity as to what the Sabbath is really all about.
Usually when I'm thinking about Sabbath, I'm thinking about just being able to rest,
In Hebrew, the word for rest also means to abstain or to cease. On the seventh day, God ceased from all the work which he had done. Genesis 2:3 explains that God blessed and sanctified the seventh day.
Thus the heavens and the earth and all the host of them were finished. And on the seventh day God ended his work, and he rested on the seventh day from all he had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all his work which God had created and made.
Once a week, the Sabbath invitation reaches every man, woman, and child with the message of God's love. So how do we keep the Sabbath holy? How do we make it special and set apart, different from the rest of the week? Do we sit on the couch and watch the clock, waiting for sundown to hurry up so we can breathe easy again? The psalmist didn't think so.
A psalm, a song for the Sabbath. It is good to give thanks to the Lord, to sing praises to your name, O Most High. For you, O Lord, have made me glad by your work. At the works of your hands I sing for joy.
It's a day that I get to worship my God, Jesus Christ.
Just to give yourself a break from everything else,
Sometimes it can be hard to know what keeping the Sabbath holy looks like, and Sabbath takes on another life of its own. We huddle in the shadow of the rights and wrongs of Sabbath keeping, but remember what Jesus said.
The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath.
The Sabbath is a celebration.
It's a time to remember our Creator who stopped working the next day after making people so that we could spend time together. It's a time to step away from our work and have a holiday with God.
And all this information we can find on Adventist.org. This is all our information. So in today's program, we'll be diving into what this day means to us as Seventh-day Adventists and ways in which we can observe it without quote unquote being bored or feeling limited because of the things we choose not to do out of a matter of observance and reverence. Right now, we will have our quiz by Courtney, and you can go on to kahoot.it and she will put up the pin. So get ready for the Kahoot.
Okay, everyone, so the game pin is on the screen, 6400175. 6400175. Also, if you're on YouTube, the stream is a little bit behind. So if you want to play, you should join us on Zoom. I'll put the link in the chat so you can join and you can be more up to date with the questions. Okay, there are 8 of us in here, so we're gonna wait for 3 more people. The game pin is 6400175. You can just go to www.kahoot.it. Okay, let us begin. If anybody still wants to play, I won't lock the room, so you can still join in later. Okay, the first question, well, the topic is the Sabbath day. First question, the Sabbath day was created on which day? 7th day, 1st day, 5th day, or 10th day? Which day was the Sabbath created on? Okay, everybody got that right. The 7th day. So we have Lindy J, Blossom, Lexi, hello. Yeah, they talk. Next up, we have a true or false question. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. Is this true or is this So most people got that correct. Yes, that is from Mark chapter 2, verse 27. Same people are on the board currently. Question number 3. What verses in Exodus speak to keeping the seventh day holy? Exodus 21-7, Exodus 21:8-11, Exodus 21:12-17, or Exodus 20:8-11. Which verses in keeping the Sabbath day holy? Okay, yes, Exodus 28-11. That was a little deflative, but yes. Exodus 28-11 speaks to keeping the Sabbath day holy. Oh yes, Carol, being on 2 devices helps. So you can look at the question on one and answer on the other. Okay, hello is on a answer streak, so congratulations. And Lindsay is still on top. The Hebrew word for Sabbath is Shabbat, Sabbat, Shabbat, or sabbatical. What is the Hebrew word for Sabbath? Sabbath, Sabbat, Shabbat, or sabbatical? Okay, yes, it is Shabbat. Okay, Lexi has moved up, so she's trailing behind Lindsay. Then we have Hello and Blossom. Next, we have another true or false question. Sabbath is only mentioned in the Old Testament. Is this true? Is this false? Sabbath is only mentioned in the Old Testament. Correct, most of y'all got that right. It is not only mentioned in the Sabbath, in the Old Testament. On this next slide here, we'll see that Sabbath is mentioned in both the Old and the New Testament. And some of these references can be found in Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, and Revelation. Next up, question number 7. Who received this commandment from God written on what of what? Noah, tablets, cement. Noah, hold on. Oh yes, Moses, scrolls, paper. Moses, tablets, stone. Abraham, hands, stone. Who received the 10 commandments from God written on what of what? Okay, nice. Everyone got that correct. Good job. Okay, Lexi has an answer streak. Lindsay is still on top, followed by Hello and Blossom. Question number 8. This one is worth double the point, so try to get it right. Which commandment is about the Sabbath? The blank commandment is about the Sabbath. Is it the 8th commandment, the 9th commandment, the 5th commandment, or the 4th commandment? Which commandment is about the Sabbath? And the hint can be found in Exodus 28:11. Nice, everyone got that correct. It's found in the 4th commandment. Lexi is on top, and Lindsay has an answer streak. Nice. Question number 9. In the Seventh-day Adventist Church, the Sabbath is number blank in the list on the 28 fundamental beliefs. So we have 28 fundamental beliefs. Which number is the Sabbath in that list? 20, 2, 12, or 22? Which number is the Sabbath in our 28 fundamental beliefs? 20, 2, 12, or 22? Okay, it's 20, yes. 2 of you got that and 2 of you got it wrong, but we will learn that in this presentation. So Lindsay is back on top, followed by Lexi, Hello, and Blossom. Question number 10, also for double the points. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, etc., can be found in which text? Hint is from Isaiah, but which chapter and which verse? So is it Isaiah 38, 13 or 14, Isaiah 28, 13 or 14, Isaiah 58, 13 or 14, or Isaiah 18, 13 or 14? So Isaiah 38, 28, 58, or 18. Where can this text be found? Yes, most of y'all got that right. So Isaiah 58, 13 and 14. And the leaderboard is looking the same. Question number 11. Number 388 in the Adventist hymnal is what? Holy Sabbath, day of rest, don't forget the Sabbath, holy day, Jehovah's rest, or O day of rest and gladness. What number? Number 388 is which hymn? Holy Sabbath, day of rest, don't forget the Sabbath, holy day, Jehovah's rest, or O day of rest and gladness. Okay, yes, 2 of you got that correct. 388 is don't forget the Sabbath. And the final question, first the leaderboard looks the same. And final question, today is the what? What is today? Sabbath, Shabbat, the 7th day, or a day of rest? Just a hint. Actually, no, never mind. Just a hint, you can. Oh, okay, yes, all of them are correct. So it's the Sabbath, it is Shabbat, it is the 7th day, and it's also a day of rest. So let us see who's on the podium. In 3rd place, we have Hello with 9 out of 11. Let's see, with 7 out of 11 in 2nd place. And in 1st place, we have Lindsay Day with 9 out of 11. Runners up are Blossom and Haley. So thank you for participating, and I hope you learned something.
Thank you very much, Courtney, for that. I know that some of the questions, persons may not have known, but after today, I hope that, they're cemented in your mind. So I'm going to turn off my camera again, just so that everything is clear. Okay, so number 20, as you would have just learned, are our 28 fundamental beliefs. Number 20 on our 28 fundamental beliefs, entitled The Sabbath, falls under the category of daily living. All throughout the Bible, we can find guidance for our daily lives. A well-known example would be the 10 Commandments. So I'm going to try to get my screen full. Okay, there we go. Just try to move that someplace else. Okay, I hope that you can see the top without it being too distracting. Okay, a well-known example would be the 10 Commandments in Exodus, where we are shown how to love God and how to love people, which Jesus re-emphasized in the New Testament, Matthew 22, 37 to 40. God's law shows us the path to follow and the pitfalls to avoid, leading us toward wholeness and balance. And before I continue, I'd just like everyone to know that this is going to be, although I am presenting, you can raise your hand and stop me at any time, to give your input or if you have any questions throughout the presentation. So the 20th fundamental belief reads, the gracious Creator, after the 6 days of creation, rested on the 7th day and instituted the Sabbath for all people as a memorial of creation. The fourth commandment of God's unchangeable law requires the observance of the seventh-day Sabbath as a day of rest, worship, and ministry in harmony with the teaching and practice of Jesus, the Lord of the Sabbath. The Sabbath is a day of delightful communion with God and one another. It is a symbol of our redemption, a sign of our sanctification, a token of our allegiance, and a foretaste of our eternal future in God's kingdom. The Sabbath is God's perpetual sign of his eternal covenant between him and his people. Joyful observance of this holy time, from evening to evening, sunset to sunset, is a celebration of God's creative and redemptive acts. And the text at the bottom show where our fundamental beliefs have come from. So, the Sabbath is a day of rest, reflection, enjoyment, and worship for God's people. When God was creating the earth, he took 6 days to create, from the sky right down to the food for us to eat. Then, he created man and woman in his own image and breathed life into them. And that can be found in Genesis 2:7. Then, on the seventh day, God created the Sabbath, sanctified it, and made it holy. And then he rested. Now, Genesis 2:1-3 says, "And so the heavens and the earth were completed, and all their heavenly lights," which would include the sun, moon, and stars. By the seventh day, God completed his work which he had done, and he rested from the seventh day from all his work which he had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because on it he rested from all his work which God had created and made. So, why was it created? Because, God doesn't need to rest. After all, he is God. That's why the context of this is so important. The Bible says that he rested, but as Isaiah 40:28 tells us, "Do you not know? Have you not heard? The everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the heavens and the earth, does not become weary or tired. His understanding is unsearchable." So, God does not become weary or tired. So the question still remains, why did he rest? He rested to look over what he had created. The word Sabbath comes from the Hebrew word Shabbat, which you would have also seen in the Kahoot, which means to cease or to stop. Therefore, God rested to look over what he had created and to enjoy it. Much like we do after we complete a large task, although we do get tired, we take a moment to reflect on all that was done and we enjoy our accomplishments. And that's just what we do on the Sabbath. We enjoy and we give praises for what God has placed here for us. The Sabbath is a memorial to remember the power of what God can do for us. Now, in The Desire of Ages by Ellen G. White, chapter 29, entitled The Sabbath, she says, "Because he rested upon the Sabbath day, God blessed the Sabbath day and sanctified it, set it apart to a holy use. He gave it to Adam as a day of rest. It was a memorial for the work of creation, and thus a sign of God's power and his love. The scripture says, 'He hath made his wonderful works to be remembered. The things that are made declare the invisible things of him since the creation of the world, even an everlasting power and divinity.'" And that comes from Genesis 2:3, Psalm 111, verse 4, and Romans 1:20. Ellen G. White continues to say, "All things were created by the Son of God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made." John 1:1-3. And since the Sabbath is a memorial of the work of creation, it is a token of the love and power of Christ. Our Sabbath calls our thoughts to nature and brings us into communion with the Creator. In the song of the bird, the sighting of the swaying of the trees, the music of the sea, we still hear his voice who talked with Adam in Eden in the cool of the day. And As we behold his power in nature, we find comfort, for the word that created all things is that which speaks life to the soul. He who commanded the light to shine out of darkness hath shined in our hearts, to give the light of the knowledge of glory to God in the face of Jesus Christ. And that comes from 2 Corinthians 4:6. So, why does it need to be respected and followed? Well, a big part of what makes Sabbath so special is that it's a gift from God to connect with him. God knew that keeping relationships requires dedicated and intentional time. And because we get so busy in our lives, in our day-to-day lives, we needed a reminder to stop. This sanctified and holy 24 hours allows us to take our minds off of ourselves, the stresses, the issues, and everything that requires our time, and focus our minds on God. This period allows us to grow closer to him and to experience him more deeply, all that he has made for us. It's a time to reboot and connect. Now I'll take us back a little to the 1800s to learn of the Sabbath and the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And for anyone who was a Pathfinder, we know this history. And anyone who wants to read it for themselves can also find it at Adventist.org. Now, in the 1800s, there was a religious revival among Protestant Christians. This movement was led by a group of Baptist and Methodist ministers. They proclaimed the soon coming of Jesus, and the message quickly spread through their congregations. These Christians believed that Jesus would return in 1844, and when that did not happen, they were greatly saddened. And this is what we know as the Great Disappointment, right? October 1844. This left them searching for Bible answers. They began to study the Bible for themselves instead of leaving all interpretation to the clergy. These Advent movement Christians noticed the emphasis on the seventh-day Sabbath in the Bible. They had the desire to keep all of God's commandments. These Christians decided they would begin to keep the biblical Sabbath, even though most churches worshiped on Sunday. Keeping the fourth commandment became a distinctive part of their worship, and the name of the Seventh-day Adventist Church was chosen because of the belief in the keeping of the seventh day, as well as their belief in the literal second coming of Christ. Now, what are some ways that we can observe the Sabbath? And I'm going to ask you for your input a little later on, but I'm just going to give a couple of points. As Sabbath keepers, we can make the most out of this sacred day of rest each week with our family, friends, and believers. I know it doesn't have to be things that we automatically assume, oh my goodness, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this. There are many things that we can do. Number one, we can worship in church, and whether that be online or in person, it is still church. Church is not only the building, church is the people. Because you know, when the whole pandemic happened and we had to be online, persons were just like, they're stopping us from going to church. Church can happen anywhere. It is still church. Number two, rejuvenating our souls through quiet reflection. I know some persons, may take a walk or take a drive someplace, very scenic, and just sit in nature. Number three, which continues on, finding refreshment through time spent in nature. And I don't know if that is why we as Adventists like to have a wedding outside in the orchard or by a beach, but this is something that we do to keep the Sabbath holy. Number four, deepening our relationship with Christ through Bible study. Number five, strengthening our relationships through time spent with family and friends. So, family lunch is a very big thing, or church lunch when that used to be a thing. The communion between family and friends. And number six, resting our weary bodies. Now, here comes the practical part of it. And I know that some of us, especially growing up, felt as if the list of things not to do was endless. But what about the things that we can do? And I have two questions here, and for those on YouTube, you can also place your responses in the chat and Courtney will share it with us. But the first question here, and this is asking you personally, what are some other ways that you observe the Sabbath? In your personal lives, with your families, what are some ways that you observe the Sabbath? So you can either turn on your mics or you can put it in the chat.
So Chelsea.
Yes, please. I'm here.
Now that we use the computer and the tablet a lot on Sabbath, I find that there are some Bible quizzes on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of joy in going back to these quizzes. Some I know the answers, some I don't. But I find that that's one way to, you can do quizzes, and if you have somebody to share, that you compete with, that is even better.
Yeah.
Like, so Sabbath doesn't have to be a day of a lot of don'ts. There are quite a number of do's as well.
I agree. And I really love that question. I remember when we were smaller, we used to print out, I think we used to print out, it was either crosswords or something to take to
Word
church.
search.
Yeah, word search. Yeah.
Search is right.
That used to be a big thing that we used to do as children.
Right. Yeah, you can find biblical themes and and I remember printing out some in booklet form and giving them out to some of the children, like where we have, what you call it, praying fast. When you have the
I think I remember
session.
doing some from there. Yeah.
Right. So those things, we refresh your memory on Bible topics, so that, and it's a learning experience. It's an enjoyable experience. Right. So that's one of the ways.
I really like that one. Thank you, Auntie Brenna. Kiara said, spending time in nature and watching God's handiwork. Yes, that is a really nice way. I know that our church, we have gone to Pico Tenerife, I think that's the name. Yeah. Cove Bay, the Orchard, a couple other places.
Even down down St. Andrew, Barclays Park.
Over in Barclays Park, yes.
Right, we've had
Andromeda Gardens.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Anything else that I see a hand raised? Go ahead.
Yes, something I like to do on Sabbath that I like to reserve only for Sabbath is watching this TV show called The Chosen. It's about Jesus and his disciples, and I feel like I don't watch it during the week because it makes it feel more special when I get to reserve something just for Sabbath, and I feel like I enjoy it more. So yeah, that's my tip, to save things specially for Sabbath.
I really like that. I see another hand. I'm gonna come there now, and it's kind of interesting because sometimes we have outfits, for going out certain places, or we have a particular bag, a particular phone case. But then when it comes to Sabbath, we just think that we can do any and everything, and it will feel, like a special day. So that's very interesting that you mentioned, like you reserve it for that day, so you kind of get excited, Sabbath is coming up, and I get to watch this. I see Lindsay. Go ahead.
You kind of told what I was gonna say, because personally I like to bathe with like a particular shower gel. I have a particular candle that I burn on Sabbath, on Friday nights and Sabbath mornings. I have a particular perfume, like these kind of things that I reserve just for Sabbath. Like the same way we had, as you said, you had things for going out. We had socks for pathfinders and socks for this and underwear for this. But like the shower gel and stuff, that's my personal like ringing in of the Sabbath. And then with Abraham, we have like a particular book that we would read on Friday nights together. So we're doing marriage and these kind of things, but it is what we will read on Friday nights instead of just say, let's do the lesson or something. We would read a particular book.
Right.
I love that. Getting ideas, no. Okay, I see something else in the chat. Auntie Joss said nature walks, going by the beach, light candles, and listen to religious music. Yes, I remember when I was smaller, that used to be a big thing. The lights in the house, you do to be off, use light candles, and have worship. I really like those. Anyone has anything else to share? And what are some ways that you personally observe the Sabbath? Anything from you, Courtney? Okay. Anyone else?
I feel like to answer the next question was some fun engagement ways. I like Sister Verna's thing about the quizzes and stuff, and I know like Bible games used to be really big. I mean, if we go to my parents now, we will play Bible games like Bible Pictionary or Shekels or Taboo, these kind of things, and they're not just fun, but you learn a lot because you might be answering something and somebody be like, wait, what do you mean when you say that this is this? And you say, but this is what it is. And then you have to go and check back in the Bible and you kind of read the story and these kind of things. And so it is a way of also learning the stories or refreshing your memory of certain stories.
Yes, I agree. And I was telling Courtney recently, there are some Bible stories. They aren't Uncle Author Bible stories, but there are some Bible stories that we used to read when we were smaller. And it only occurs to me recently that for most of my life, that was what the Bible was. It was learning these stories. So there was some like Jesus and the disciples with the nets of fish, and feeding the 5,000. So even that, reading those books, that was my way to understand. That was my way to understand, more about the Bible. So even something like that. So the other question, as Lindsay would have gone into, so what are some fun ways, and what are some fun and engaging ways that young children and youth can do while observing the Sabbath? So I know that we would have mentioned some things that we personally do, but what are some other things that we may have wanted to try before and we never did, or that some people do and we would like to, to incorporate? So for those listening, what are some things that we can do, besides just having this mentality of, shoot, I can't go this place, I can't do this, what are some other fun things that we can do?
When I look at the quarterlies for children nowadays, there are a number of activities in the quarterly, that even if you don't do all on Sabbath, at least you can whet the child's appetite by going through one or two of them on Sabbath afternoons, so that they sort of set the tone for the rest of the week. I remember growing up, the quarterly that we used to use was something like the same size as the missions quarterly. It was just a story, no activities, nothing. So every day then you would read the story over and over and over. But gradually the quarterly was changed into an activity. I remember the junior and the PowerPoint having some activities that I can still remember all like now. Where you're given clues, and sometimes you find yourself wondering, what clue is this? What word is this? When you finish the clue, you have a sentence or something that stuck with you. And if you can find books with that type of activity, apart from the quarterly, you can also teach the child, do the activities. Simone will tell you that we had a book called When the World Was Young, Bible book, when we were growing up. It was a fairly thick book, and it had things that you could color and so on, so that if you found a piece of crayon, you said, look, let me take home this, because when I go to work on that book, I may be able to use it. So those activity books for young children, now when you come to teenagers, they need to do something else. But those would be fun things for the children. They get the fun, but they also get the lesson. As Aunt Tracy was saying, you also get the lesson as well. So activities that are fun for the children would be things to do on Sabbath afternoons.
Thank you, Brenna. I really like those ideas. And when you mentioned the clues, I remember, I think it was Pathfinders, when a particular class had to plan. I remember for sure a class I was in, when we had to plan like a devotion. I remember doing a treasure hunt, right? So you would either plan stuff that either hide clues that people have to find based on a thing, or you would tell them, well, go in nature and find something that not reminds you of God, because that's a very yeah,
that illustrate you of something.
And then and then when they come back, it was a case where you had to either like do a poem or do something that this object could remind you of. And Auntie Joss said special toys only for Sabbath. Would you like to elaborate on that, Auntie Joss? What are these special toys? Like, what do you think about? And then after Auntie Joss, we got Courtney again.
Okay, so you can have special dolls, you can have blocks, you can have just about anything, but it would be for Sabbath only and related to Sabbath activities. So as I say, a doll, you have normal dolls you'll play with during the week, but this particular doll is only for the Sabbath. So if you're dealing with the story of Moses, you use this doll for that particular story. Well, if it's a boy doll, if it's a girl doll, and there's a story relating to a girl in the Bible or a baby girl, you use that doll for that purpose. When I was in Sabbath school, I used a lot of fruit in Sabbath school. So you would have things like that relating to Bible stories. So anything that relates to a Bible story, you can use specially for Sabbath only.
Oh, okay, thank you. Because when you said toys, Courtney reminded me that we weren't allowed to play with dolls. So just like, wait, toys, sorry. So now that you mentioned this, it brought back to me felt, because felt technically can be considered a toy as well, but in Sabbath school, we used to depict different Bible stories as well using felt. So that's a really good idea. Courtney?
Yes, now that Auntie Joss mentioned that having special toys for Sabbath, one of our cousins, she does, so every night, she has young children, and every Sabbath night, every Friday night, they do pizza. I think they make pizza together. They drink some kind of fancy juice, and I think they'll watch something. So this whole special night that the boys all look forward to. So I thought about that when Auntie Joss mentioned the special thing just for Sabbath. Yeah, she made a whole night out of Sabbath.
I know that you mentioned that point. I remember growing up, we also used to, and this is something that persons with young children or thinking of having children. I remember when I'm not sure how it really started, but Courtney and I, because we used to follow what Auntie Jasmine did at church and making a brochure, we thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. We also used to make our own brochures at home. So we'll put the type, the date, the time, and then on the inside we would have a whole list of things and who was doing what, and that was our way of having something special to do as well. And then, as Courtney would have mentioned, you get something to eat, and then you light candles, you find a little fancy juice or whatever, wine, and that was just so that was our way of welcoming the Sabbath as little children, getting to lead out in the welcoming of the Sabbath at home. So that's another idea that you can do. Anyone else has any ideas that may be good for young children and youth? If not, does anyone have any questions about the Sabbath and Sabbath observance? I may not be able to answer all, but we have some very experienced persons in here who would be able to. So you have an option of asking the question or responding to the question about what we can do as youth so that the Sabbath doesn't come across, as this boring, monotonous occasion.
Sister Chelsea.
Yes, please. Go on, Wendy. Go ahead.
If you got children in your neighborhood which are similar to the ages of your children, you can invite them over.
That's a very good idea. Yeah, and I know sometimes what was it? Was it called Grant Sabbath School? Grant Sabbath School? It's one or two of those that used to take a service to the community. So it wasn't just that you were keeping adventures or keeping profanity at church, but you were going into the community to also engage with persons. So that's a very good idea, Wendy.
Yes, I just remember that when we did this presentation for parent convos, how to make your child's Sabbath experience enjoyable. And one of these things she mentioned was to vary the places you eat Sabbath lunch. So you can pack it up and go to a beach or go to a park or just even eat outside your own house. But yeah, just vary where you eat lunch.
But still keep it with your Sabbath.
Yes, not a restaurant or something, but
still keep it with the Sabbath. Now, when it says keep it with the Sabbath, you don't want to go somewhere where you're gonna find a rowdy crowd or what, but in the quiet. But yeah, outdoors, but in the quiet of nature.
Yes.
I saw another hand raised. Not sure who it was. Auntie Joss. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, you can also let your kids listen to special radio stations like Talk Radio, 3ABN. When Jody and Jamie were little, we used to let them listen to a program called Ranger Bill. I don't know how many people know Ranger Bill. That was very educational. Then there was Adventures in Odyssey. And then there's one called Your Story Hour. So these are all stories for kids that children can listen to on the Sabbath.
Thank you very much, Auntie Joss. I know that you mentioned those. I remember, I think you introduced us to, was it Salty, the Bible? It was, yeah. And there was, one more as well that was kind of, it made reading the Bible interesting and learning about different stories very interesting. Lindsay?
Yeah, now that Auntie Joss brought up listening to things, I remember, granted the things that we used to listen to were, a little more dated. So like Bible story adventures and these kind of things. And so they used to do, they used to have like it was like TV but on radio, so it used to be dramatized versions of the Bible. And we used to listen to those. Also, we used to read special books. So Charles Mills used to have a whole set of Adventist books, and they were not just on the Bible, but they were based on children just like us, and the Shadow Creek Ranch series. And then there was one with a fellow who was an archaeologist. All of these detectives, Zach, all of these fun things that we saw people just like us, children just like us, doing every day, but they all tied back somehow to a Bible story or somehow to, it was like an object lesson. And so getting these kind of materials, I don't see a lot of reading material now for children and young adults as I saw when I was growing up. But we could source anything on Amazon. So, finding things like that.
Some of us, Sister Chelsea, grew up on Uncle Arthur's bedtime stories.
Right.
I still remember a lot of them. I don't know how he got the ideas, but he wrote a lot of books on bedtime stories for children. And you can either get the child to read, or if the child can't read as yet, you can read the stories, but and emphasize the principles that Uncle Arthur wants to get over in telling these stories. That's another good activity to help children.
Yes, please. And to what Lindsay was saying, it's true that I don't really see a lot of them now, but I know that sometimes in not sometimes, all the time in Pathfinders, I'm not sure if Adventist has it as well, but the reading list for the year for books that you have to read. I know that sometimes you see some really good ones as well in there. And it's also interesting to show not students that are in school, to show to show children that you don't always have to read a Bible story. You know, as you were saying, there are stories like from Uncle Arthur who they're real life situations, but life always comes out in it. And the same thing with Adventures in Odyssey, like Auntie Joss was speaking about. Like those things aren't reading from the Bible per se, but like not stealing, not lying, you know, being helpful, being kind. A lot of those things came out in those stories. So you don't have to make it same old by making the child like, you know, read the Bible, but there are a lot of ways in which you can incorporate these things. And Auntie Joss said Guide magazine is excellent for teenagers. So yes, we can look that up to see what that is about. Also, Courtney, before I come to you, I remember on 3ABN there was something called, was it Teen Pathways? I remember they sit on like logs, and it used to be like in the middle of like this green area. So also on 3ABN, I know sometimes when we think about that, we automatically think that it's going to be kids' time, or, you know, something for the little children, but there are also things on 3ABN for the youth and for older persons. Courtney?
Yes, I was saying I agree that I don't see a lot of reading materials, but I see a lot of TV show kind of things. So I made a list just now: Story Keepers, Superbook, The Greatest Adventure, stories from the Bible, and also VeggieTales, the classic one. Yeah, so I don't see a lot of reading stuff. I see a lot of things you can actually watch.
Well, thank you very much. If you can just put those in the chat for anyone who may want. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, because I think too, it's important for us to understand that not everyone is at the same place in terms of reading the Bible or getting the knowledge from the Bible. Because even if you ask some adults, some people haven't read the full Bible, you know, and it's not that because you're adult you should be able to, but it's that people, you know, taking information differently. So I may learn through, you know, a video, while you may prefer to read. I know what Lindsay would for sure prefer to read. That's Lindsay's forte. But there are a lot of ways that you can make it interesting without making it seem laborious, like sitting down. Or for instance, even if your child wants to read the Bible, don't give them the King James Version. As I was telling Courtney today, I feel like anybody who honestly says that they understand and can read that properly, in my opinion, they are kind of fibbing. I don't want to say the word lying, but there's no way, in my opinion, that you can truly read the King James Version and, you know, actually understand word for it. I mean, some people, well, Lindsay said it's possible for her. But I just find that for children, there's so many different versions of the Bible that you can give them. Yes, you may consider it watered down because it doesn't have any dough and stuff, but for children at that age, it's something that they can understand. And Asha would have said, greatest heroes and legends of the Bible is another one to add, that she loved that as a child. Thank you, Asha. And Court would have put the list in the chat. Okay, so, sorry, go ahead.
And this is from Auntie Inga on YouTube. She said Bible, board games, puzzles, and nature walks.
Thank you very much, Auntie Yvonne. Yes, NLT, NASB, and EBS. Sorry, Auntie Inga. Thank you, Auntie Inga. I heard that wrong. Yeah. Auntie Adele said there's a book named Ellen, the Girl and the Two Angels. That one is beautiful. I think we read that one probably in our Pathfinders. Um, yeah, there's some really good books that the Pathfinders get as reading course material. So even as parents, if your child maybe an adventurous, but they're still at a particular reading level, or you can even read it to them. You can always ask, Mr. Eiffel or somebody who works with the Pathfinders, to give you some ideas as well. I see a couple of unmuted mics and hands raised. I'm not sure if anybody else.
Yeah, this is Limbrook. I just want to make a point quickly. I really do think it would be so exciting if families, parents could plan their Sabbaths before Sabbath, how you want to spend your Sabbath. You don't wait until Sabbath and say, well, this is what we want to do. I remember when we were children coming up, my parents always used to prepare for the Sabbath before the Sabbath. And so you plan your meals, you plan special. As a matter of fact, I think our best meal used to be on Sabbaths when I was growing up. These are things that has always remained with me. I think we really need to get back to good Sabbath keeping, making Sabbath exciting. I used to enjoy Sabbath a lot because Clovine and Linda and those used to come over and spend Sabbaths with us. And we always used to look forward to that time. Sabbaths was really exciting, and special times for us. But parents have to be excited about Sabbaths in order for the children to be excited about Sabbath. And too many parents are lazy. They just want to use the Sabbath to sleep and stuff like that. But you really have to make that sacrifice to make Sabbath a special time for your family.
I agree with you, Brother Limbo, that as a matter of fact, I was saying from the time the Sabbath finished, you should begin planning for the next Sabbath. But the point I wanted to make, the Adventist Book Center has a lot of material. Sometimes if you are lucky, you go when the sales are on, or you can go to visit the bargain table where you can find out search word puzzles and so on. But anything that makes the Bible attractive provides learning. It's not only fun that we want and entertainment, but we want to make sure that when we put an activity book in the child's hand, the child not only enjoys the activity, but he's also learning the Bible principles, the Bible lessons, whatever. Okay.
Yes, thank you very much, Auntie Verna, Uncle Limbrook. Before I come to you, Asha, Uncle Limbrook, I really do agree with what you're saying, because if to a child the Sabbath looks like something where you're constantly rushing and just squeezing it in because it's something that we have to do, then to the child, it's not going to be something that they may not take it seriously, or they may just see it as another inconvenience. Shoot, I can't do something for this whole 24-hour period. And so it's very important that I keep saying we, but parents and persons in authority over children really mold and showcase what the Sabbath really is about, so that children growing up, have a great interest and respect for it. Asha?
Hi, yes, good evening, everyone. I know that as a child, one thing I would have really enjoyed was when my parents allowed me to take over devotion. So they would allow me to choose all these songs. But this is in relation to Friday night family worship. And I would be able to choose all these songs that I want to sing. I will also choose the devotion reading, which I would read. And most of the time I would read things that, I want to talk about. So I know, especially going into my teenage years, sometimes, I may choose a devotion reading or like a dating or finances or something like that. And, you're still having the spiritual aspect of it, but then it still opens the gap for me as a child to have that connection with my parents and to get their views and opinions on certain things. So sometimes it goes beyond just making it seem like, okay, it has to be religious, but also establishing that connection between parent and children all can make the Sabbath more enjoyable as well.
I agree with that, Asha. And it's also important to link these things. So, because I think too, we always think that the Sabbath is this exclusive thing, there's nothing else that you can attach to it. But as you said, there are a lot of things in real life situations that, the Sabbath can be taught, and you can learn about God through many different things. So that's a very good point. Earlier I saw Auntie Joss mic open again. I'm not sure if Uncle Lambert has something else to add. I'm not sure.
No, sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. So these were all really, really good points, everyone, and I really like these. And for anyone listening, I hope that you can start to, I don't want to say spice up, but start to incorporate some of these. And even for older persons, as Lindsay would have mentioned, she has a particular routine in terms of using special items for Sabbath only. So it's not that these things can only be done for the children and youth. You can still pack up lunch and go somewhere, plan something special, make the Sabbath special. Because you may be saying, man, I've been doing this for so many years, and it's always good to find something else to keep your interest, to keep your interest peaked. So if there are any more questions or comments, I'll just move on to the last video that I have. And this one also is from Adventist.org. And it really kind of cements what we would have spoken about before and reiterates what the Sabbath means for us today. So I'll just leave it for a second, see if anybody has any other points, and then we'll go on.
Have you ever wondered what the Sabbath truly is? In short, it's a gift from God. But why did He give it to us? Well, we know that productivity increases when we take breaks. It's the only cycle not dictated by astronomy. The 24-hour day is based on the rotation of the Earth on its axis. The month is based on the lunar cycle, or rotation of the moon around the Earth. The year is based upon the Earth's rotation around the sun. Cool, huh? To think that God gave that to us from the beginning. Here are some things to do on the Sabbath. So why all the confusion in modern times? The change of the Sabbath as the day of worship to Sunday came about in 321 AD. But what does Sabbath mean? It means to rest. Sabbath in Hebrew means day of rest, and the Hebrew word Shabbat means He rested. That's right, during Sabbath we acknowledge God as Creator. Let us also remember what it means for God, as it says in Genesis 2:2. Enjoy taking some God-given rest this coming Sabbath.
Before we end, I just want to make a clarification. I was not calling Lindsay old. I was just trying to reiterate for young children and the younger. Let me see. And the youth. But as we would have all said today, there are many ways in which we can uphold and learn about the Sabbath. Ellen G. White has many books in which she speaks about this, and we have the internet readily available. There are persons who we can ask who may have more knowledge of things that we can do. So there's no excuse really why we should be still saying that we're bored or there's nothing to do, or that you don't like the Sabbath. There's a lot that we can do as some Adventist Christians to make this day special. God gave us this special day to worship with him and to enjoy. And we should, in return, worship and enjoy the day as well. It's a rest from our week, a pause, a reflection on what God has brought us through. And we really ought to try our hardest to keep it holy. I'd like to thank everyone who would have participated, and I hope that this presentation this evening would have really sparked some ideas or reignited your passion for the Sabbath. Thank you, Kiara. To close, we will sing number 515, The Lord is My Light, number 515. Please bow your heads for a word of prayer. Dear Father in heaven, thank you for this blessed Sabbath day. Thank you for reminding us the reason for the Sabbath and why it is so special to us, dear God. Thank you for allowing us all, to share our thoughts and ideas and hopefully rekindle somebody's understanding and somebody's experience of Holy Sabbath, of what the Sabbath is and how they should spend it, dear God. Let us not focus on all the things that we think we can't do, but dear God, allow us to see that there are many beautiful things that we can do on yourself to celebrate this special day. Please be with all of our church members here and on Zoom, worldwide, dear God. Bless those who are in conflict-stricken areas, dear Father. Please, show them that you are still there, God, and please protect them. As we end off this Sabbath, dear God, bless us and may we have a great week this coming week. And let us not forget you, and let us not forget that you are the reason why, we're able to do all these things, dear God. Please may we have a good and safe and enjoyable day, the remainder of the day. Thank you for the showers of blessings and continue, dear God, to be with us, dear God. This is our prayer in your name. Amen.
worship Him. In all the nations, in all the world, where He sends me, yes, I will go. I will go where You lead me. I will go where You lead me. Who will go for us? I will go. I will go where You lead me. I will go where You lead me. Here am I. Send me, Lord. I will go. I will go. I will go. Who will go for us? I will go. I will go. I will go. Here am I. Send me, Lord. I will go. I will go. I will go. I will go.
Thank you everyone for coming, and see you tomorrow night at 6:30 for our Sunday night service. Do have a good evening.